Skoda's a bit like that brooding low-key actor that you know but can't always recall, like Jacqueline McKenzie or Ben Mendelsohn. Respected and considered, but far from a preening red carpet showboat. And the Octavia is the quintessential Skoda for those seeking quality engineering and tech without feeling the need to make a boastful badge statement.
The 4th Gen Octavia has been in market here for 3 years, and on the back of a recent safety upgrade, this new SportLine model, offered in 5-door liftback and traditional wagon form, adds extra design and specification spice for the same money as the existing entry-level style. It lines up against traditional sedans and wagons like Toyota's all-conquering Camry, established players like the Mazda 6, and in-demand newcomers like the BYD Seal EV, not to mention the usual medium SUV suspects.
We're all set for a first drive, so stay with us to see if this SportLine has what it takes to steer you towards the Skoda Octavia.
With the aim of giving the Octavia a value-focused midlife upgrade, the SportLine adds some racy features outside, inside and underneath the car, and we'll get to those in the design and driving sections. For now, it's important to note the car is priced at the same level as the already well-equipped entry-level style. That is a little under $41,000 for the liftback and close to $42,000 for the wagon. And to support this new variant's arrival, national drive-away pricing has been set for both at an extra $1,900 and $2,100 respectively. Aside from that, the SportLine boasts a handy standard features list, the highlights being dual-zone climate control, adaptive cruise control, 18-inch alloy rims, auto LED matrix headlights, a power tailgate, large digital screens for media and instrumentation, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, auto rain sensing wipers, a reversing camera, built-in nav, and 8-speaker audio. There's more, including bundled option packs. So for all the details, check out my written review at carsguide.com.au. Pretty good value for the category even before you start factoring in the SportLine extras.
The Octavia is a crisp, contemporary design combining hard character lines with carefully sculpted, broader surfaces, with just a hint of Skoda's VW Group ownership peeking through here and there.
The broad black grille is uniquely Skoda, although the rear treatment is closer to generic premium Euro. Swap out the Skoda badging for 4 rings or a blue, black and white roundel, and no one would bat an eyelid.
But the SportLine stands apart thanks to a gloss black finish on the grille and exterior mirror covers, as well as the boot lid spoiler on the liftback or roof rails on the wagon.
On top of that, a rear diffuser and front spoiler have been added, the window surrounds are matte black, and dual exhaust tips finish off the rear end. The interior is dominated by this handsome multi-layered dash design, with a 10-inch multimedia touchscreen in the centre and 10.25-inch virtual cockpit instrument display facing the driver.
This leather-appointed flat-bottom steering wheel has manual shift paddles lurking behind its rim, there are sporty alloy covers on the pedals, and the headliner is black.
The cloth sports comfort seats look and feel great. The materials used are high quality, and the Octavia shares its umbrella in the door trick with Rolls-Royce, although it must be said the latter provides too.
A 1.4-litre all-alloy direct-injected turbo-petrol 4-cylinder engine sits under the Octavia SportLine's bonnet, with drive going to the front wheels courtesy of an 8-speed auto transmission with manual control available via those paddles on the steering wheel.
At a fraction under 4.7 metres long, just over 1.8 metres wide and close to 1.5 metres tall, with a close to 2.7 metre wheelbase, the Octavia SportLine liftback and wagon are at the upper end of the mid-size category. At 183 centimetres, I've got plenty of breathing room in the front. The low-level design helps deliver a spacious feel. For storage, there's a generous storage area under an extendable height-adjustable armrest between the seats, twin cup holders in the centre console, bins in the doors with enough room for large bottles, and a decent-sized cooled glove box. There's also Skoda's signature lined rubbish bin in the driver's door. Sitting behind the driver's seat set for my position, I've got plenty of room for my feet, legs and head. There's enough shoulder room for 2 grown-ups to sit comfortably here, 3 on a pretty cosy shorter journey. Up to teenage kids, 3 of those will be fine. In terms of child seats, I think you're better off with 2. It would be just a bit of a squeeze to try for 3. Then in terms of storage, you've got this fold-out 2 cup holders and a tablet holder here in the drop-down centre armrest. You've got bins in the doors which are big enough to hold decent sized bottles, which is always a plus. And speaking of a plus, you've got individual ventilation, some extra storage there in the back of the front centre console, map pockets. Actually, it is pretty good.
Connectivity and power runs to 2 USB-C outlets, a 12-volt socket and a wireless charging pad up front, with a second 12-volt in the boot. No USBs for back seaters, which is a miss. Speaking of the boot, with all seats up, the liftback offers a competitive 600 litres of storage space, expanding to 1,555 litres with the 40-20-40 split rear seat folded. Those numbers grow to 640 and 1,700 litres in the wagon. Plus, there's a rear seat ski port style door in both. A space saver spare sits under the floor. The tailgate is power operated, and for those keen on towing, the Octavia is rated up to a 1.5 tonne brake trailer with trailer stability control standard. Skoda's official combined cycle fuel economy number for the Octavia SportLine is 5.7 litres per 100 kilometres for the liftback and 5.9 litres per 100 for the wagon. On the launch drive program covering urban, B-road and freeway running along the coast south of Sydney in New South Wales, we recorded an average of 6.4 litres per 100 kilometres in the liftback. Not too shabby for a non-hybrid in this class. Worth noting, the minimum fuel requirement is the pricier 95 RON Premium Unleaded though. You'll need 45 litres of it to fill the tank, which translates to a theoretical range of around 790 kilometres, roughly 700 kilometres using our real-world number.
So the turbo-petrol 1.4 litre 4-cylinder engine produces 110 kilowatts at 6,000 RPM. But that's quite high, but the bigger number, or the better number, is 250 Newton meters of torque between 1,500 and 4,000 RPM. So you have this really strong punch in the mid-range, which makes the car easy to drive. It weighs in the lift back at about 1,300 kilos, a little bit more for the wagon, and Skoda says you can cover 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 9 seconds, which isn't ferociously fast, but it's not hanging around either. And that's that mid-range punch that helps you get there. The 8-speed transmission is a shift-by-wire setup, and it's got 2 settings, normal and sport. Slip it into sport, and it's slightly more aggressive on the down change, as we'll change earlier, and hold on to ratios longer when you're going up the transmission. And the manual paddles on the steering wheel, if you really want to take control, just add to the fun along the way. Suspension is by struts at the front and compound link crank axle at the back, which is Skoda speak for a torsion beam. It's also been lowered 15 millimeters in this SportLine version, with different tune on the shock absorbers and springs. But you don't pay any penalty in terms of ride comfort. We've been on some pretty ordinary B-roads during this launch program, and the car has remained pretty comfortable along the way. So that's really pretty impressive. The electrically assisted steering is well weighted, but it also gives you good road feel, a nice connection between your hands on the steering wheel and the tyres on the road. Speaking of which, you're rolling on 18-inch rims shod with Bridgestone Tyranza rubber, and they're nice and grippy in the corners, but comfortable at the same time. We've been on some, secondary B-road type stuff, and the cars remain quite comfy at all times. And if you really want to have a go, there's an electrically controlled locking diff, which really keeps things under control, flatters you in the corners if you're having an enthusiastic session. The brakes, no surprise, discs all round, ventilated at the front. We've been on some twisty sections downhill, really putting some pressure on the brakes, and they've remained firm yet progressive in terms of applying the brakes on the pedal and coming off the pedal. Nice and progressive, no dramas there whatsoever. Then in terms of just ergonomic things, the audio control, the volume control, it's a bit of a hot topic at the moment as to whether or not there should be a manual control so you can just quickly adjust the volume, or is it neater from a design point of view to have it as a slider on the screen? Well, the Octavia has a slider at the base of the screen which you physically touch and drag along, and it works really well. It's quick and responsive, and I think it's a nice sort of halfway house between those two things. Really good compromise, and it works nicely.
Safety is one of Skoda's strongest suits, so no surprise the Octavia scored a maximum 5 ANCAP stars from assessment in 2019. For all the details, check out my written review, but active crash avoidance tech highlights are AEB with pedestrian cyclist detection, a surround view and reversing camera, park assist, lane departure warning, lane keeping assist, rear cross traffic alert, tyre pressure monitoring and fatigue detection. If an impact is unavoidable, there are 8 airbags on board, including a front centre and driver's knee bag, which holds up well in 2024 and shows how far ahead of the passive safety game the Octavia was when it launched here in 2021. There are 3 top tethers for child seats across the second row, with ISOFIX anchors on the outer positions. The Octavia is covered by Skoda's 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is 2 years up on the majority of the mainstream market. Roadside assist is complimentary for the first year, renewed annually if you have your Octavia serviced at an authorised Skoda dealer. The main service interval is 12 months 15,000 kilometres, which is in line with most of the competition, and Skoda offers 5 and 7 year service packs, the latter equating to $393 per workshop visit, which isn't out of line for the segment. And through Skoda Choice, you can opt for a guaranteed future value offer ranging up to 5 years and currently at a 6.99% rate. Check out the written review for more detail. So, is the Octavia SportLine your kind of automotive quiet achiever? It's keenly priced, well equipped, with sleek yet understated design, top-notch safety and a compelling ownership package. It's also fuel efficient for its size and a refined, enjoyable drive. Before you go down that well-trodden mid-size SUV path, I'd recommend adding this Skoda, be it liftback or wagon, to your new car shopping shortlist. Ahoy!